Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me pretty well? Fantastic. Thanks very much. Good afternoon and welcome. I'm film critic Joe Newmeyer, and let's have a big round of applause for the powerful and moving Being Charlie. Thanks very much. I think we're going to have a spotlight. If you can see me, you probably will see me a little bit better once we get a spotlight going in a couple of moments. In about 20 minutes, I'll be joined by Kathy Miller, the founder and executive director for Oasis, the Center for Mental Health, as well as Nancy Clifford, who's the parent of a son in recovery. But right now, we are very lucky to be joined by the director of Being Charlie, as well as the director of such genuine modern classics as The Princess Bride, Stand By Me, When Harry Met Sally, The American President, and Misery. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one and only RobReiner. Hey.
Thank you.
Hello, Rob, and welcome from the Annapolis Film Festival. Congratulations on the film. One more time.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. That's very nice of you. Oh, now I can see you. Wait a minute. You look like me.
Hold on one
Can
second.
you hear me?
It's like silent comedy. Rob, if you can hear us, hold on one second. Sorry, we're just adjusting the sound so that we can be heard. All right.
Should I talk?
Let's see.
Nobody can hear me.
Keep talking? Okay.
Hello?
Rob, can you just
hear
give us a hello one more time? Sorry about that.
Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right, we
Can
just
you hear me?
need to switch something. Hang on. It's like you're on the space station, Rob. Hold on one second.
Right.
Rob, we'll get you down.
had-
It's like The Martian. Don't worry. We're sending people now.
I had Tang this morning.
Hang on. Do you have enough supplies, Rob?
Yes, I do.
Bring him home. All right, hold on one second. Hopefully we'll be able to cure this within just a couple of seconds. I would also like to tell people, by the way, that Being Charlie, this is, as we mentioned before the screening, this was the North American premiere of Being Charlie. It premiered in Toronto last year. This is the first time. You're the first American crowd to see it. First United States audience. Sorry about this, Rob. We'll be in 1 second.
It's okay.
Rob, maybe you could give us fingers on a scale of 1 to 5. How you doing today? Is 5 really good? 1 not good? How many fingers? 5. That's 5. That's excellent. All right. By the way, they tried this in 1924 in radio. It really didn't work. It had to last a long time until television came along. That was just a joke. I would just like to say, just as one more thing, I've grown up, I'm a film critic, but I have grown up most importantly as a film lover. And Rob's films, from This Is Spinal Tap through The American President and Ghosts of Mississippi and this film, have all been so crucial to me the last 35 years of my life as a film goer, as a film lover, and now as a film critic. I can't tell you how much they've meant for me, and I think for all of us. And hopefully we'll be able to hear something from Rob in just a moment.
I'm just going to hook you guys up to the speaker on the left.
All right, that might be the best way to do it, yeah. If you have maybe some index cards and a marker, Rob, also, that might be a good backup plan. There we go. I'm just going to give you guys...
I'm going to have you guys come through a handheld mic just so everyone can hear you, Rob. I think they can hear me on this mic, but I think I just need to turn it up so we can hear you because you're going to be coming through a laptop speaker.
Okay.
All right. There we go. Thank you, Rob. Really appreciate it. Thank you for being patient so much. All right, so it is an honor to speak.
Okay, here's the first thing.
But
If you couldn't get my audio,
yeah.
you look enough like me that you could have just answered.
I think they planned that. That's exactly right. They said, you're bald, you got a beard, let's just keep on going. That way if it doesn't work out. Absolutely, that is an honor. Your son Nick Reiner wrote this, Rob, with his friend Matt, about his own struggles with addiction. I'm wondering what it was like for you to recreate so many wrenching moments that literally were sort of taken from your and Nick's own life.
Well, obviously it was very emotional. The whole process of going through it, I mean, it's not exactly us, but we did draw from our own experiences. And it was almost like, therapy in that for the year that we worked on it, it forced me to see more of what he was going through. It forced him to see more of what I was going through. And as we talked things out, we got closer. And then it also was reflected in the script. So it was an amazing process. It was emotional and difficult at times, but from a creative standpoint, it was probably, more fulfilling than anything I've ever been through.
Yeah. You're pretty unforgiving in some ways on the father, played by Cary Elwes. I mean, he's trying to figure it out. He's trying to do the right thing. But he's also, in some ways, getting in his own way and trying to help out his son. Was that sort of a way of sort of working out some of your own issues about how you dealt with Nick's addiction?
Well, I mean, first of all, like we don't usually use the term addiction because I think it's, people have all kinds of reasons to why they either drink or use drugs or eat too much or gamble or whatever. It's usually to cover up some underlying issues that you're having to deal with. So and everybody's an individual. Each person is an individual, and how you go about working through that stuff is your own path. I mean, there are a lot of good programs and so on, but there's no one prescription that works for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for us, it was, it was eye-opening. I mean, Nick struggled when he was a teenager, and, we did what we thought was the right thing. I mean, the Cary Elwes' character, David, in the movie says, we listened to anybody with a desk and a diploma because we didn't know what the heck to do. So you kind of, listen to people and you go down a road, and it may not be necessarily the best road for you to take with your child. It may be different. And we've learned from each other. Nick has taught us a lot about, what he struggles with and what's best for him. So it was a learning process for both of us, really.
Yeah. It seems as if that's one of the big takeaways from the movie as well, which is that, I was going to ask you, what parents can learn from the film. It almost seems like they really have to go with their gut in some ways, because not every form of treatment, not every way to go is for everybody, correct?
No, that's true. And each parent knows their child hopefully better than anybody else. And so, sometimes you feel at a loss and you don't know what to do and you throw your hands up, and so you kind of put yourself in the hands of experts and so on. But very often those experts, as good as they are and as smart as they are, may not know your child as well as you do. So you have to kind of just, like you say, trust your own instincts.
Yeah. What was your response when Nick came to you about wanting to write this? I know that he had been originally thinking of it in some ways, maybe. Was it going to be a series? Was it going to be a movie? What was that like as you saw him kind of working through his issues in a creative way?
Well, that was the interesting thing about this, the whole genesis of this. I mean, he met his friend Matt Alisafin at a rehab program, and they hit it off with each other. And then when they both left, time went by, and Nick called him up and said, there's something in what we went through. There could be a show there or something. And initially they wrote like a half hour, and this is something I didn't even know about, They wrote this half-hour comedy about rehab, and I read it and I thought, well, it's funny, but it doesn't really touch on the things it needs to. It needs to go a lot deeper. And they rewrote it as an hour comedy drama, and we tried to get it set up. We couldn't. And then I said to them, maybe there's a movie in it. Why don't you guys, and I helped them kind of structure a movie, and they went off and did that. And then over a period of, like I say, 6 months to a year, we got this to where it is. And we tried to come at it from both sides, you know, from the kid's perspective and also the parents' perspective.
Yeah. In the film, you mentioned comedy. Comedy
now I can't hear him.
The outlet.
So, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you perfectly.
Because now I can't hear you.
Okay. Oh, no. Now
I don't hear anything you're saying.
All right. 1, 2, 1, 2. Can you hear me at this point? No? Maybe one more present. Oh, no. Now it's been reversed. We've switched the polarities, Rob. We've crossed the streams. All right. 1, 2. Let me know if you can hear me, Rob. All right. Hopefully soon. I wish I could even ask him to elaborate.
So I feel like I'm that guy, you know, on those remote things when they do those news remote, and I don't hear the other guy. Right. So maybe I'll just So we're not in you know. Yeah. The problem is that Trump has really hurt himself in the last week, because, you know, he's basically shown his true self, which is not only a xenophobe and a racist, but he's also a misogynist. And so we're learning about that. And going into the Wisconsin primary, it looks like he's going to lose that to Ted Cruz. And then we move on to New York, and it looks like he has a better position there. But he's been weakened. And so we don't know if he'll get the requisite number of delegates before they reach the convention in Cleveland. And if not, I think the party regulars are going to try to do everything in their power to take away the nomination from him. But it should be an interesting fight, an open floor convention. We haven't seen this since 1968. Does that answer your question? Because I can't hear a thing you say.
Can you hear me now, Rob? Can you hear I hope you can hear the applause. Can you hear me now, Rob? Is it?
I can barely hear you.
You can barely hear me. Okay, here. How about this? Well, for one thing, I'm putting my vote down right now for the RobReiner News Network. Let's get that going in fall. That sounds terrific. If you can still hear me, Rob, this is okay?
I can hear you.
Fantastic.
Go ahead.
So you mentioned comedy earlier. In the film, comedy becomes such an important outlet for Charlie, for his anger, his confusion, his issues. I'm wondering, I mean, because obviously his comedy is such an important part of yourself and your life and your dad, Carl. Was Nick even aware, was creativity and comedy in some ways a saving grace for Nick as well?
Well, I don't know if that is. I mean, he's really funny. Nick is a funny guy. He's got a totally unique sense of humor, really funny. And my feeling is, you know, with all the films I've worked on, you know, if you're going to have some kind of realistic reflection of the life experience, it's funny and tragic. I mean, you know, those two masks of comedy and drama. And the trick is always to try to bring those two things together. And then, you know, in this particular movie, it's a very dark subject, and there's some very dark scenes, but there's also some laughs, and there has to be. And Nick, you know, I mean, he has done some stand-up, you know, a little bit, and his friend Matt, that's how he met Matt at rehab. Matt was doing a stand-up very much like in the movie at a you know, a talent show, and so that was always going to be part of the equation in this movie.
And so you just brought up your past films. I want to kind of use that as a segue. You have directed obviously plenty of dramas along with comedies, everything, A Few Good Men, Ghosts of Mississippi, Misery. I said a lot of them before you even came on the screen. In some ways, did all of those films prepare you for this, the most personal film that you've ever made?
Well, you know, every film you make teaches you more, you know, and I always say, you know, you bring to the experience where you are evolutionally, if that's a word, you know, in the evolution process, wherever you are. So you bring those skills and that knowledge and that experience at any given point in time. I just made another film, LBJ, and I bring, you know, a lot of experience from, you know, what I thought about LBJ back then and my feelings about politics and how to make a film. And those all come together. And each time you learn something, and hopefully you can take it to the next project.
You mentioned LBJ. That was exactly going to be my next question, which is obviously a movie about Lyndon Johnson, starring Woody Harrelson as the 36th president. It is produced by Annapolis's own Tim and Trevor White, who are actually here in the audience.
Trevor and Tim, are you there?
That Trevor.
Okay, and is your mom there?
She sure is.
Okay.
That's right.
I'm doing this for your mom. She's a very nice lady. I met her on the set of LBJ.
Is there anything? Yeah. Woo! Absolutely.
And you have some very nice boys. You are the mother of very nice boys. Even though they're not Jewish, they're very nice.
Is there anything more you want to tell us about LBJ? It takes place like it uses as its starting off point the arrival at Love Field, right, in November 1963, and then spins off from there. Is there anything else you want to let us know about it, Rob?
Well, I think that, when people see it, first of all, they're going to see the most incredible performance by Woody Harrelson. I'm blown away. I've seen it a million times. I can't get over how good he is, and people, I think, are going to be stunned by his performance. But beyond that, I think what we try to do is humanize Lyndon Johnson. Everybody has a certain view of who he was based on what he was able to accomplish, and more unfortunate for him, his presidency was overshadowed by the Vietnam War and his inability to manage that or to handle that in any kind of intelligent way. But what we try to do is make him, like I say, human. He was a very complex man, almost Shakespearean in nature. And what we tried to do with this film is bring out some of those complexities so that it wasn't just, and then this happened and then this happened. We want to know who this man is. Who is this guy who was able to ultimately pass the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act and start Medicare and Medicaid and Head Start? Who was a guy, and what drove him? And you'll see from the film, he's a mixture of strength, incredible strength, political wisdom, and severe insecurity.
Yeah. Trevor, I was lucky enough to see a picture of Woody as as Lyndon Johnson that Trevor had on his phone. It's an amazing transformation. Woody's an incredible actor anyway, but it's amazing the transformation, the physical transformation that Woody has made to LBJ.
Ooh, I'm not here. Now I'm not hearing you again.
Oh, that's okay.
So on the Democratic side, we've got Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. Bernie Sanders is touted to win Wisconsin, and that may have an effect on his momentum going into New York, which he feels he can take. Now, Hillary Clinton is way ahead in pledged delegates, and with the superdelegates is far out of reach. But Bernie Sanders is hoping to make a real race of it and bring his message and his delegates to the convention in Philadelphia. I can't hear, but I can.
How about now, Rob? Can you hear me now?
Text me the question. Text it. We have other technologies available to us. If you text a question, I'll answer it.
Can you hear me now?
You can text. I know you have two thumbs. They're used, not like we have opposable thumbs, not like apes.
I'm giving this interview 2 thumbs up, by the way. This is a fantastic use of technology and personality combined. How about now, Rob? Can you hear me now?
Can't hear.
No. 1, 2. 1, 2.
Did you get it?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
They didn't get it yet. They didn't get the text.
Okay. No. I don't have my phone.
And I said text, not sext. Too early for sex.
One more time, Rob.
Oh, wait a minute. What did you say?
I said, can you hear me now, Rob? Is this good?
I can hear that.
All right. Mr. and Mrs. America and all the ships at sea. Rob, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
There we go. Terrific. Rob, to wrap up, I'd love to ask you, what is your favorite movie? And how have movies helped you live life better in some way, shape, or form?
Well, this has been my favorite movie for my whole life, which is It's a Wonderful Life. And the reason I like that movie is, it hasn't changed over all these years, but I've changed. And the more I appreciate life, value life, realize how precious it is, the more that film becomes, meaningful to me. So I love that movie, and I've always loved that movie. And the message is pretty clear, which is, you know, you have this one life, and you do, and you don't want to throw it away. And so that's a movie that means the most to me.
I love that answer. That is absolutely terrific. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob, well, all your films, including Charlie in particular.
Goodbye, everybody.
Wait, one more time. I just want to thank Rob. Hold on, Rob. Can you hear me? All right. Rob, all your films, and Being Charlie in particular, have helped us live life better through laughter and learning. And thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for being patient with the technology. And thank you again from the Annapolis Film Festival. Ladies and gentlemen, RobReiner. That was terrific. That was such an honor, and he is so terrific.